All right then, so open up your browser and search for Clerk Authentication, and you can find their official website. So click that. All right. So if you're using this for very first time, all you have to do is to create yourself an account. In this case, and once you logged in with your Google or GitHub profile, you will be navigated to their dashboard. So let me navigate to the dashboard. Since I do have already some projects over here, in this case, I'm gonna choose another application. So for you guys, this is how the initial page for it's going to looks like, because since you are going to use it for very first time. So this is how the application. So I'm going to change this application name as a YouTube job portal, something like that. And I need the username Google, and I need to use the GitHub authentication, and I need to use the LinkedIn authentication, because these are the three authentication that we are going to use, and along with that email address. So the beauty of the Clerk authentication is because all your user details and the session tokens will be securely maintained with the Clerk authentication, and they are providing you this nice UI components to integrate the user authentication. And if you check it out, you can see if you want to remove the name who's providing this details, you can go for the premium version. Unless if you don't worry about that name, the brand name, you can use it for free itself. Okay, if you want to remove this brand name, you should pay for them. All right, so this is how the component is going to looks like. Okay, so once you create this application, so that is going to take you to their official dashboard, where you can manage the users and which application that you are going to use and what is the API key and all those things. Okay, in this case, we are going to use this Next.js. So all I have to do is to install this. So I'm going to copy this and I'm going to shut down my server, paste it, npm install Clerk. All right then, so it's installed successfully. So then what I have to do is I have to create an environment variable in my root folder. So I'm going to create a new file called .env, and inside that I'm going to copy this and I'm going to paste it. So that is the Clerk publishable key and the secret key. So save these changes. Once you added this, we need to ignore it in our git ignore file. So if you scroll all the way to the down, you can find this and just mention the .env file over there. So now you can see that env file has been successfully ignored. The color changes indicates that the file will be ignored whenever you are pushing it to the GitHub. Then we have to create this middleware, because we need to update the middleware file, because that is how the Next.js has been checking whether the user is authenticated or whether the authenticated user loading the protected route or public route. These kinds of verification will be done in the middleware.ts. So let's create a new file over here and create a middleware.ts in the root folder. Make sure that is in the root folder. Then I'm going to copy this command simply and I'm going to paste it over here. So since in the latest version they are using the Clerk middleware instead of auth middleware, okay, so we are going for the new version itself, not the deprecated one. Maybe in future, if we are run into any issues, we will get back to the previous one. All right, so then since we are using the app router, this is how you need to configure your Clerk provider. So let's get back to the layout.tsx, and all I have to do is to wrap this up. Over here, let me bring it and let me bring all these things to all the way to the top. And since it doesn't know what is the Clerk provider, let me copy this import statement and let me delete this and paste it over here. I don't need none of these things. Save the changes. All right, so now we have ourselves the Clerk provider. Okay, so now all I have to do is your local host will be redirected to the Clerk account portal. Okay, so let me clear it and let me run it, npm run dev. So now if I get back to this, still you should be able to see the same page if everything is working properly. Yep, now everything is fired up and you can see still we are saying the same page, because by default in the Clerk, since you're using this the Clerk middleware, because this when you're using this Clerk middleware, every single route by default they are public routes. So if you want to protect some of the route, the user needs to be authenticated in order to access that routes. You need to mention how to make this as a protected route. So that's what we are going to do next. So in this case, we are need to continue this Next.js guide. So over here, you can see be having this specific routes and everything. So first what we have to do is we have to protect the, so let's search for Clerk middleware, and this is the one, and let me open it in the new tab. Okay, you can see, and create a middleware in the, we already did that. Okay, so let's scroll down. By default, Clerk middleware will not protect any routes. All routes are public, and you must opt in to protection for routes, because that is the thing that we need to do. Because if you want to keep any specific routes as a protected one, you need to configure. So how to do that? So we are going to create this route matcher, and we are going to protect this route. So if you scroll all the way to the bottom up, you can see how they are protecting the route. So I'm just going to copy this. Let me get back to the middleware, and right above over here, paste it. I'm going to use this create route matcher. So in this case, I'm not going to have any dashboards and all these things. So basically, if the user needs to come in, the route needs to be authenticated. Okay, so is that a case? So I'm just going to keep every single thing as a protected route. Okay, so I need to protect every single route. So that's a home route. So home route needs to be protected. And then right after that, we need to export the Clerk middleware, not the same way over here. So what we need to do is, so this is going to take the authenticated, and it's going to take the request, what route that you're going to request, and that is going to get you the callback function. So if is protected, we need to pass the protected route. So whatever the user requesting, we are passing it to that protected route. If that is in the protected route list, then the user needs to be authenticated. So auth dot protect. So if the user is authenticated, then he will able to access that route. If he is not authenticated, he will not able to access that specific route. So that is how you need to protect it. So we are not going to change anything in the matcher over here. Sorry. All right, so now we made this as a protected route. So you can see it's showing that the chunk layout is being failed. So let's stop the server because we make some changes on the middleware. So let's rerun it, npm run dev, and let's close this. Okay, and look at that. Now we are immediately pushed to the user to the login ourselves, but this is not our custom route. You can see it is going somewhere because we are making the middleware to push the user to, and this route will be automatically created by your Clerk application. So now all we have to do is to go ahead and create ourselves the custom routing to map the user to push our into our sign in and sign up page, and that's what we are going to do next.